everyone wants deeper connections, deeper love, deeper emotional meanings. It doesn't matter what level of income, it doesn't matter what you're going through. At the end of the day, that's what moves a human.
Hey everybody, it's your host, Amber here, MLM strategist and entrepreneur who has worked with thousands of network marketers and influencers and entrepreneurs in your space, helping to brand them, systemize them, and grow their downline on a global level. Creative director with AK Social House and your host of the Behind Her Boom podcast, providing you with proven, simple, and actionable steps to build your authority and your brand so you can stand out from those sideline sisters. Inspiring you with our special guest to think big and grow to 7 figures and beyond. Let's go.
Hey everybody, it's your host Amber on Behind Her Boom podcast, coming to you today with a very special and spiritual guest, Vanessa Gutierrez. I'm super excited because she focuses on helping women and entrepreneurs and women in business to really connect and reach that next level in their business and their life, but through the power of spirituality, chakra, all those exciting things, which I'm really excited. My husband transformed his life through meditation. So this is a really big thing for me. I'm excited for what's going to happen on today's podcast. So guys, please welcome Vanessa on here. Vanessa, share with me your journey and kind of what's all started into this and what's leaded you to where you are today.
Sure. So first, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to share this because my life was also transformed through meditation. A few years ago, I owned a very successful construction company. That's my background. And that went down under for based on decisions that we made at a young age. And I had to regroup, and I had to regroup fast because I have children. I'm a mom of 3 girls. And I really hated being broke. I mean, there's no other way of saying that. There's no other way. And I didn't want to do something in business that was what I had to do. I wanted to do something that I enjoyed. I always have been into spirituality and meditation, but didn't know a lot. And I started getting certified and I started connecting the dots. And I kind of started seeing that when a woman has a block in one of the 3 main energy centers for entrepreneurs, they have a block in business. So they have money issues, they have confidence, their outer roar all stems from within. And these women started having massive transformations, and their business started to grow in a way that they were attracting the clients. And it was I was taken by surprise, to be honest. So fast forward to that, I became, I guess, more certified. I studied more, and that's kind of where we are right now. That is what I do currently. So I don't believe that matter to matter, which is only marketing and only business advice, will get you very far. I think it's very easy to get derailed or unmotivated, or what commonly is called stuck. I'm stuck, I can't move forward. And until you don't work the energetics, that's what we are made of. That is, in essence, our atoms. That's what we are. So that's kind of what led me here, where we're at today.
That's fantastic, Vanessa. I mean, I love tapping into on this because I really feel like if you have a strong enough energy and you believe in the law of attraction and manifesting things and having that positive energy towards it, it's some people will laugh because they'll say, if you're in a DM and you're not in the mood, I'll even tell my assistant, I'm like, if you're just not in the mood, don't DM anybody, do another task. And they're like, what? I'm just DMing stuff. I'm like, don't. I only want good positive vibes and energy when you're in my DMs or you're on social media, because it translates to that next person, even though it's just through a text. That energy translates to that other. So if you do it in a positive, exciting mood, hey, want to be on my podcast, 9 times out of 10 or 10 out of 10, they're like, yeah, sure. But if I'm just hi, Kat, usually that just sits there because it's an energy thing, right? So
that is so true. That's quickly, just this conversation has been coming up a lot this week. And what people don't realize is we are in a resonance field. So what you think is the signal that you are sending out. Literally, it's a signal. And when you are marketing yourself or speaking with someone, if you don't feel like it, don't do it. You're going to have a better outcome if you do it when when you're in a better mood than if you're just oh, why am I doing this, or whatever, I have to do it. Yeah, it's true.
Absolutely. What would you say to somebody? Because I know meditation's a practice, just like anything, even a sport. You can't just wake up one day and be like, I'm going to meditate. It's really hard. I still to this day cannot focus enough to actually meditate. Where my husband went to Thailand, he spent a month with monks, and he just ate like 2 vegetarian meals a day, but he came back completely transformed and like grounded and focused, that he knows now if he's in a certain state, he's like, I need to meditate, get back into that space. And it's just really transformable. So what would you say to somebody who's sort of new into that? They're just like, they don't really understand the vibes or how powerful that could really be. What's like one or two, maybe like small micro things that they could do to sort of help them tap into the energy that they're sharing with others?
Okay, so I'm going to try to keep it very short because I can go on. So I teach a lot of quantum physics, because if you have the model and you know that that's how it works, then you are inclined to do it as a human. The first thing is meditation doesn't have to be a long process. When you meditate, 90% of humans live in survival emotions, which is guilt, anger, despair, sadness, desperation, and trying to control an outcome. It's an illusion. We have no control over any outcome ever. So when we are living off of these emotions, and that just basically means, am I waking up and I'm in already a bad mood? Am I already declaring or thinking, oh my God, yesterday is going to be just like today, nothing is moving forward for me? The only thing you need to do there is recognize, I am living off survival. In survival, there is no creation. You're not going to be motivated. You're not going to be creative. You're not going to be in the present moment. You're going to be in two states, either focused and concerned about the future or regretting the past. Once you're there, you're like, okay, the only way I can change this is through my energetic change. There's no other way you can do that. So when you meditate, 15 minutes of meditation lowers your brain waves. When you lower your brain waves, you have access to amplifying the energy from your heart, and that it doesn't have to sound any more complicated than that is where you feel joy and compassion and love, and you have energy to create and to be motivated and to show up. So when you meditate, a few tips is meditation is the best return on investment any entrepreneur can have. So that use it as your, just like you do your follow-up to your marketing, use meditation as that. If you use a blindfold, the prefrontal cortex or prefrontal lobe is going to shut down. And that is the area of the brain that is in charge of all the outside distractions. My to-do list. I have to go to the bathroom. I have to drink my coffee. I'm very busy. I can't sit here and meditate. All those things that we say. So a little tip is choose. Yeah, just that's all you have to do. Choose a meditation. Your intention when you are meditating is to completely just go through it the first few days. There's no attachment to an outcome. There's no, I have to do something. I have to feel something. No, and when you do that, you are beating your body, because your body out of an internal mechanism of survival, since you're not used to meditating, your body says, get up. This is not working. You can't concentrate. You can't focus. And you knowing that when you go in there and you say, I am going to set 15 minutes, you put your blindfolds on and just follow a guided meditation. Throughout the day, I guarantee it, because this works in your operating system, you will be more present, more loving, and less reactive. As you start seeing that process unfold in your life, you will know the difference within 3 days. I didn't meditate today. That's why I feel so horrible. That's it. That's all you need to start with. Yeah, just 15 minutes.
I love that. And I think we all have 15 minutes. I feel like if I put a blindfold on and I sit for 15 minutes, I would fall asleep. And then I'd be like, well, hold on, that didn't work because I fell asleep, right? But if you set an alarm and you go through a guided meditation, and now you're focused on the sounds and the vibrations and the whole flow that's going through, so you won't fall asleep.
Yeah, and if you do, it's okay, because your brain waves, right, when you are meditating, the purpose of meditation is to access your operating system, which is your subconscious mind. There's no other way. And when you are meditating, if you fall asleep, it's okay. The frequency of sleep is also healing. But if you sit there with the intention of, let me use this meditation for the purpose of having a better day, reducing my blood pressure, changing my brain matter, my brain, then more than likely you will be able to get through 15 minutes. And what happens in those 15 minutes is something that you're going to want to come back to, because there's also dopamine releases in the brain. So your body literally is going to say, Amber, I want more of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just little by little, until it becomes just, I think the problem, not the problem, I think what happens is we have a erroneous conception of what meditation is. And it's not because you're stressed. Meditation is where you create. So when people say, oh, say affirmations, for affirmation, you can turn blue in the face and say all the affirmations that you want. But if you are still in a state of survival and vigilance, it's going to be very hard for your body to believe it and for your brain to take action, because they just override it. They're like, oh, that's not true. So yeah, just little increments each day.
I like that a lot, Vanessa. Thank you for sharing that. Everybody should be able to do 15 minutes, and just the way you explain it just seems a lot less overwhelming. Like, it just seems more doable. And when you said about the blindfold, because I could see that happening, because as soon as I would sit down and even just close my eyes, I am thinking of my to-do list, and I'm thinking of all the things I should be doing and not be sitting here for 15 minutes, right? Yes. And even 3 or 4 minutes is hard, but the blindfold, I feel like that just takes you into that whole, it's like a forced state. So I think that's fantastic. What would you say? So you just mentioned affirmations there, kind of briefly. And I've always kind of I've used to tell people, set your alarm different periods through the day with affirmations. So if you're having even kind of a crappy day or a stressful day, all of a sudden your alarm goes off, and it might be an affirmation, that you put in, and automatically it would sort of, kind of bring you back and just put a smile on your face, or change that level of what you're going through of an emotion. But then I've talk to others, and they kind of say the same thing as you. An affirmation's only words if you're not actually being able to live by them and follow those. And if your subconscious mind's not believing them anyways, then you're just telling yourself, hey, you're the best, have a great day, and it's not actually making an impact, right?
Yes. So I think they're a great tool. I think that discounting them is not, I think they are great. I think that what happens is, for us to get off the roller coaster of starting and stopping and allowing our old emotions. So at age 35, we are a set of beliefs or behaviors. That means that all the beliefs that we have carried from 0 to 7 years old, because our brain waves were in a suggestible state, have been ingrained in us in our automatic nervous system. And basically what that means is, when you're driving a car and you're reacting to someone, you first react, and then minutes later you're like, why did I do that? Or why did I lose my cool? That is an automatic program. So when you use affirmations, it's kind of like the superficial or the top layer. And what happens many times is you go back and you go forward. One day you feel great, and then you feel not so great again. And when you meditate, you are actually moving energy that is stuck. Those beliefs from childhood or from a traumatic experience actually are rewired. So that, I would say, maybe even using this with your husband, the change is permanent. Yeah, there might be refractory periods, but it's a very pronounced change. It's very apparent.
Yeah, I agree. I like that a lot. I feel like that's just where you need to head. And I think a lot of people, like, what do you say to somebody who just, they don't believe in meditation, or they just don't understand that practice, and they just think, oh, it's part of yoga, for example. That's just, that's what it is. People are just sitting, and they don't understand that power of what it can actually do to you and to your world. What do you say to somebody like that?
Well, I think I lead a lot with science, because we can't really, it's usually not something that somebody doubts with, right? When we lead with science. And I think that everyone wants deeper connections, deeper love, deeper emotional meanings. It doesn't matter what level of income, it doesn't matter what you're going through. At the end of the day, that's what moves a human. And when people start connecting the dots, and they say, it's not only about feeling better, it's about creating new networks of information in your brain, about you operating differently, about you not being so stressed. And what people don't know, which is so interesting, is, there's so much talk about the law of attraction and manifestation. And in reality, the science behind this, and this is according to quantum physics, is we are all connected by this field, the infinite field, the void. It's a field of energy, and that energy carries frequency. And when you meditate, It's like if you were dangling in that field of energy where all possibilities exist, meaning your limitations are not valid there. You're cannot, I can't do it, it won't work, it's so hard, I'm so stressed, all that doesn't. So when you are in that field, what happens, which is why people fall in love with meditation, is they start seeing the synchronicities in their life. And they're like, oh, for example, in entrepreneurship, oh my God, I was so stuck, nothing was moving, and then all of a sudden I started practicing this, and I have people out of the woodworks almost like coming to me, and I got this call from a client or somebody that wanted to join my team 3 months ago, and today they decided. So those synchronicities is what the person is creating when they are meditating. So when you lead with that, people, I always say, go in it as a trial. See if this works. Don't take anybody's word for it. See if it works. And that's kind of how it happens. It's not about imposing anything. It's about the person experiencing in their body, wow, I feel so different. Wow, it feels amazing. Wow, my day today was completely different than yesterday. So that's kind of how the conversation starts.
Yeah, I like that a lot, Vanessa. I mean, how do you feel like somebody needs to be face to face, like in a meditation retreat, to be able to get all of that, or can they do it virtually? Like, how do you help your students?
So I am very honest in this. My mission is that as moms, actually, we become meditators just because it makes us a better mom and a better spouse and a better human. But meditation is free. So no one has to, you don't have to go to a retreat, you don't have to be secluded. I know that a lot of people have done that. I think that's amazing, but you don't have to do that to get the benefits of meditation. When I work with my clients, we do a lot of energetic work, but because these are women that are like, oh, I want to go full in, right? And they have like a higher understanding of what chakras are and how to move energy and all that. But if somebody's listening to this and they are feeling, maybe sad, depressed, or anxious, or they just can't be in the present moment, something interesting is one of what I invite the listeners is, if yesterday is very similar to today and you haven't seen a change in your life for a long time, meaning you wake up feeling, oh my gosh, another day, or it's so hard, or it's so difficult, it's living in the predictable future. And it basically means that every day you are sending the same signal out and you are calling the same event to you. So it's the same things that are going to happen. You're going to have a very similar life forever. And when you sit down and start incorporating just 15 minutes of meditation, you are no longer the passenger of that car. You are now the driver. You are literally seeing your creations. Things start happening easy. It's amazing. Yeah, it's just like you're like, oh my goodness, why didn't I do this before? What was happening? So yeah, you don't have to do, this is not about selling anything. It's really about, listen, I will share with Amber a good meditation, 15 minutes, but find one that you can stick with for 30 days. And remember that at the beginning, your body is just as resistant. Get up. You're so busy. What are you doing here? You're not seeing anything. I don't notice anything. I can't even concentrate. What was my last thought? It's okay. As long as you don't stand up, you won the game. That's the only rule. You won. That's it. Nothing else. And you will build on it. You will build. And then eventually you will have this wonderful experience that never fails. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's kind of your place to go to. I think this is fantastic. And yes, if you can share one of your favorite, 15-minute guided meditations, I'll be sure to share it in the comments. And I think this is incredible. And I think people need to, especially in the entrepreneurial world, it can get so stressful. You can get so doubtful of yourself. And just when you're saying about your mornings, waking up, and I often just think of like my to-do list, and it's an overwhelming to-do list. And I think, who can I give this to and that to? I got to create my list the night before. When you wake up reactive, and my husband always says, if you're waking up reactive, it's just going to be a reactive sort of day, that you're not in the moment of like trying to reach that next level. Instead, you're just trying to check boxes off of just getting through the day, and it just becomes exhausting. And how do you grow and get to the next level from there? So But I do strongly, that's why I was really excited to have you on here is, you know, just talking about that power of energy and what it can actually do. And, you know, even if you don't believe in that or not, but having that positive, even if you just try to think of when you reach out to somebody, whether it's about your product or your service, and you're going to make that connection, you kind of feel nervous, you're like tight in your chest, anxious, scared, you're hopping on a podcast, you know, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to mess up, all of those things. Instead, if you tell yourself, you know, I'm capable, you know, I'm excited, I'm here to give value, I'm here to make a difference, give yourself all those positive benefits, that energy will relate to the person that you're messaging versus, you know, kind of hiding behind. And like you said, I mean, if you're not in the mood, just don't send that message and just wait. I always say, just go and run a couple laps, you know, just get the blood flowing a little bit, right? And yeah, and do that, and then come back and you're like, God, you can hear it in the energy, and people get more excited, and it's contagious. So
Yeah, absolutely. And when you wake up, you actually have something called an RAS system, which is a reticular activating system. And whatever you declare, it's not cliche, it's not mystical, it's pure neuroscience. The moment that you open your eyes and you connect with yesterday, oh my God, so stressful, my kids, my house, my business, whatever it is, that system in your brain is only developed to give you snapshots of what you're saying. And people lose, I don't understand. This is something that I ask myself a lot. You have the power to trick your brain because the mind is subjective and it doesn't know the difference between reality and non-reality. And when you open your eyes, you start imagining. Metacognition is visualizing and imagining how would you act throughout the day? How would your day look? How would you want to feel? That will change your day. The last thing that I want anybody listening to, please, if you take something, is don't wake up and the first thing that you do is connect to yesterday's problems or get to the phone of the scrolling, because that dopamine, we're guilty of it. I have to tell myself today, I've been doing this 9 years, and I tell myself today, nope, you're not gonna get that phone, you're gonna put that down right now, because there's nothing more important than getting your head right and your energy where it needs to be, because everything will work out. So yeah, just you don't have to do anything. You don't have to leave your house. You don't even have to leave your bed. Just imagine how would you feel if you had your ideal day, and measure in your life the difference between the times that you do that and when you don't, and you will see it's so different. It's completely different, 100%.
And I think that's a great time to do it too. Like the alarm goes off, set your alarm to wake up 10 or 15 minutes earlier. And instead of getting on and starting to scroll, have that guided meditation right there on your phone to hit play, put maybe some headphones or whatnot in the blindfold, and you're still, you know, everybody around you is still asleep unless your kids woken you up. So, you know, purposely try to set your alarm earlier before everybody else and get it in then. And that's how you're starting your morning off versus trying to think about, oh, don't forget, I got to get that 15-minute meditation in somewhere amongst the chaos. It never happens. I think doing it first thing in the morning or before bed, would that be the best times?
Yeah, that's when your brain waves are most suggestible.
Right.
So you're like either just waking up, or you're not still, you're still not fully awakened, so that you are suggestible. And then when you're going to bed, you're so tired that you're not even trying to fight all the thoughts. Exactly. That's what it is. You're just like, whatever. And then when you do that, then it's so beautiful, really, what happens. It's like a biological process in your body and in your brain, and it's really amazing.
That's fantastic. Where can our listeners find you, Vanessa? Is it through your Instagram or on your website?
Yeah, so I have my Instagram. I'm on all social medias, but my Instagram is Prosperama Mom. We also do live meditations on TikTok, sometimes 10 a.m. in the morning. I want to say 90% of the time, which means Monday through Friday. Sometimes I miss because my children have an activity. And Prosperama Mom meditation on TikTok. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Fantastic. So you guys can hop on and just join a community and just a live meditation on TikTok. It doesn't get any easier than that. You don't need to leave your house. You don't need a course.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what we need, a little simplicity in our life and being overwhelmed with trying to learn and teach ourselves new things. When something is that simple at your fingertips, there's no excuses but not to be able to do that and try to level up in your life in that sort of way. This has been so, I just feel like I have my own personal guided, session towards meditating. But my last podcast would tell me to write out a pie chart and cut out the days of, the busy times. Now I'm like, I need the blindfold. I feel like that's key. Like that's the game changer right there, is the blindfold. So I'm going to get one, and I'm going to be starting this right away. This has been fantastic, Vanessa. If you guys want to connect with her, I'll make sure to drop all of her socials and her TikTok account for the free live guided meditation on TikTok, which I think will be fantastic. You'll see me over there as well. Thank you so much, Vanessa. And thank you guys for listening to another episode of Behind Her Boom podcast.